So I was absolutely gutted, as anyone would be, with the Arsenal game and how it played out. I think I often say it's the hope that kills you. These last minute goals that we've conceded really sting, especially when there's a little bit of needle, especially when it's games that we've been ahead in. For the record, I don't think we deserved any more than a point against Arsenal, but to lose like that in the last minute or two, the thing is we're a team that goes forward, and we're a team that plays, is willing to take risk. How that is an Eddie Howe team. He wants us to attack, and often it's the attacking that leaves us vulnerable, and that's ultimately what led Nick Pope to rush the clearance, which has led to the corner, which has led to the goal. Retrospectively, should he have sat on it? Yes, he should have sat on it, and we'd be sat here talking about a point. But if he releases Alanga and we score, then it's brilliant. It's really, really difficult. When Arsenal equalised, I would have absolutely taken a point at that moment in time, just because of the way the game was going. I felt from the first 5 minutes we were not at it, and definite concerns about our ability to create. At the minute, we're just not getting bodies up by Voltemada, and I think we can remedy that by committing players and getting them up near him. Are we going to have players hugging the touchline, crossing the ball in, or are we going to have players come in to the middle to support him, beside him, behind him, run off him? We're actually doing neither of that at the moment, and until Wiss is back, which I'll come on to, we've got to get bodies up near him, and I think that is literally the only way we can salvage the season in the next couple of games. And it's so important that we get our season back on track. And I don't know what team we go with, but Gordon, Alanga, who I suspect will start, have to be near Voltemada, and I would ideally like to see one of the midfielders, i.e. a Bruno also, or a Joe Linton, up by him. He's got to be given some support. Anyone who's ever played centre forward at any level knows that if you're not getting bodies near you to support you, especially if you're not quick, you're going to really struggle. And the fact that he's managed to score 2 goals for us is very impressive. The only other point I'd make on the Arsenal game is we appear to be managing minutes. The club are managing the players' minutes, which is really good. Like we know we needed to do that after the learnings from the last Champions League campaign. But we appear to be managing energy in game. The ferocity wasn't there, and it might be that it wasn't there because the team are a little bit more tired or jaded, as Eddie Howe said. But we were certainly playing like a team that was managing their minutes. The ferocity wasn't there. It was very passive. And that's why I just had that feeling of inevitability that Arsenal were just going to keep knocking. And eventually they broke the door down in heartbreaking circumstances. And I said to my mate the other day, I worry about our game management. We used to be very good at managing games out. It feels like we used to be very good at managing games out and seeing them through. But these goals that we've conceded, I think back to the game a couple of years ago at home to Liverpool, which I've still not recovered. The Darwin Núñez goal, I think he scored 1, maybe 2 that day. But these games against Liverpool and Arsenal, where we've thrown caution to the wind and ended up on the wrong end, you just wonder about the game management and whether we just need to cut our losses in certain moments. But equally, how would it have felt if we'd have scored that 3rd goal against Liverpool? How would it have felt if Pope had released Alanga and we would have scored yesterday? Although I appreciate the chances of Pope releasing someone with his foot next to nothing, and that's just the way it is with Nick Pope's distribution. He's a fantastic thrower of the ball, but he's a terrible kicker, and we know that. But anyway, we got to get players up to Voltemada. We go into this massive Champions League game. I'm hearing a lot of we got to win, we should win. I think we could easily be looking, this could be a massive it's a massively difficult game going away. They've started their campaign very, very well. They're not a big name. They're another pot 4 team like us. That offers no guarantees, especially with the way we've been playing, that we're going to go and beat them. In my mind, any draw away from home in the Premier League or the Champions League is actually a good result. And given the home games we've got, we've already played Barcelona. I don't think a point is a bad result tomorrow. I really don't. And I don't see us playing anything other than 3 centre-halves. And when we play 3 centre-halves, we're not really a threat going forward. Certainly not at the moment. So I don't really see a world in which we win. And that's a really strange, pessimistic thing to say. And I really hope I'm wrong. But everything in my mind tells me we go there, we keep it tight, and we probably end up picking up a point if we're tight. That they're a team that appear to play a 3-4-3 that also function best without the ball. How we approach it, I don't know. I would love to see us go for it and have a go, not recklessly, but I'd like to see us get attacking players on the pitch, pushing up the pitch, and having a go and trying to create some chances, because that is what we are best at. I really, really, really hope. We obviously pray that Tino's injury is not as serious as we fear. It has to be Burn or Botman. You cannot play. I personally think that we need to go back to the back 4. I think that I love the Botman and Chow partnership. I don't see how dropping Burn, but if Howe isn't going to drop Burn, that's fine, but you've got to drop Botman. You've got to have the back 4 is so much more balanced. With such a more functional team, with the 3 at the back, it does. Yeah, we are more solid, but I'm not convinced our wing backs are quite there yet, and we're as functional as a team like Crystal Palace, who've been playing the system for 18 months, 2 years, and have got it with the right players in the right system. I'm not convinced that we are there yet to be playing this system regularly. Because we're so blunt when we play it. We obviously beat Arsenal last season playing it, but that's very different when you've got a player like Alexander Isak up front who can score and create massive problems for centre-halves. If we're going to do that at the moment with Voldemort, it's fine, but we've got to get bodies up by him, and we're not doing it. And as a result, I think we need to adjust the way we play to do that. So yeah, I'm not feeling that positive, but I really hope to be mistaken, and I hope that we can get bodies up the pitch, and just get this season going, because we've got to beat Forest on the weekend. We have to take 3 points off Forest. So I think a point tomorrow and 3 on Sunday. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, with hopefully a Ramsey and Wissa to come. Just finally from me, I do wonder with Voltemada and Wissa that if there is going to be a need and requirement for us to change our system slightly, the midfield 3 of Joelinton, Tonali and Bruno is fantastic. But given the number of games we've got, given that we've got Ramsey now, I do like the idea of maybe trying something a little bit differently, where we have a 2 in midfield and a number 10. That number 10 could be a Ramsey, or it could be a Nick Voltemada, who effectively is a forward dropping deeper with the wingers running off him, and most importantly, a number 9, a centre forward who's there in the box. Something to look at and consider and discuss later. But as a team, we've gone from 4-3-3. We're now sampling the sort of 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, or whatever way you want to look at it, depending on how House sets us up. But I do think that if you sign a player like Voltemada, who's best seems to be coming when he's got a partner, someone up with him, I think the solution there could be in having him drop a little bit deeper, act as a 10 with a 9, and I appreciate that means you've got both your centre forwards, with the exception of Asula, playing, and that's where I think you look at probably the need to bring in another one, and then we're really stacked in the top end of the pitch, and you can afford an injury or a suspension. One to discuss later, but going into this game, I'm certainly concerned about the momentum. We're going against a very, very good team who have started really well. They've started their domestic season and started their Champions League season brilliantly. We have not. We are not fluid, and I worry. But we will turn it around at some point. It's just a case of when.